Halloween, you creepfest, and by that I mean the time of the year and the movie. Both unsettling, both very, very unsettling. Halloween the movie franchise spawned the horrifying character of Michael Myers, a criminally insane killer that kept on coming back. Honestly, you just can't get rid of him. I mean, I guess you could just turn off the TV or avoid the cinema, but what if he was a real life killer? Yikes. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that looks to answer all kinds of queries from topics like science, pop culture, history, politics, space, and some fun what ifs. Halloween is fast approaching, and with it comes all kinds of creepy questions. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and is there any question as creepy as what if Michael Myers was actually real? And no, we aren't talking about the Canadian movie star behind the face of Austin Powers, who is alive and well and always has been very real. Before we get into the video, why don't you guys let me know what you're dressing for Halloween? I'm thinking of being a spider, because they scare me a lot. Maybe I'll be a millipede. Ooh, let me know in the comments section down below. Also, do leave a thumbs up on this video and share it with a friend. So a little backstory for you. In the world of Halloween, Michael Myers, he was a psychopath who heard voices in his head and saw flashbacks to a young killer in Celtic times. At the age of 6, he dressed as a clown and killed his sister with a knife. He spent the rest of his childhood and teenage years in a psychotic hospital in a seeming catatonic state, after which he eventually escaped 15 years later and went on a bloody rampage. So, if this was all real, then I have a few questions for the healthcare system. His psychiatrist Sam Loomis claimed Michael Myers is the most dangerous patient I've ever observed. He's covering up. This catatonia is a conscious act. There is an instinctive force within him. He's waiting. Right. So basically, nobody heeded that warning. Excellent. Good job, everyone. At the very least, since he broke out in 1978, since then there would have been a number of healthcare reforms and more attention to psychosis. If Michael Myers were real, then he would be one of America's most prolific serial killers. Gary Ridgway, aka the Green River Killer, murdered over 70 women between the years of 1982 and 1998. Myers, if my count is correct, has murdered 109 people between 1963 and 2018. The Green River Killer was apprehended in 2001, just under 20 years since his killing spree. Now, the police have known Myers' identity since the 60s and knew that he would murder again in the late 70s. Somehow, he managed to evade them for 40 years, but like, come on, I mean, this exposes an insane amount of police failing, right? Surely if Michael Myers was actually real, a higher authority than the police would be on the lookout for him, ready to detain him in the highest security of facilities, or maybe even place him on death row. While a killer as loathsome and fearsome as Michael would certainly be a concern, I honestly would feel more concerned if I lived in the United States. So far as I'm aware, he isn't much of a traveller. I'm not even sure he's ever left his state, let alone the country. Halloween is set in the fictional town of Haddonfield, Illinois. I believe the new Halloween movie is also set in Illinois too. Michael feels a strange sense of attachment to his childhood home, and he keeps on returning, at one point living in the sewers underneath his house. After it was revealed he didn't die as we thought, I'd probably straight on move up on out of that haunted hood. I don't need it. If I lived anywhere outside of Illinois, I probably wouldn't be too worried, unless he inspired copycat killers across the rest of the United States and world, which is actually somewhat probable. Surely a murderer as prolific as Michael would attract a lot of press coverage. If it was known that there was a serial killer on the loose, realistically, people would have increased security in their homes and maybe have some weapons ready to attack should Michael come knocking. Perhaps some vigilantes would go out with the specific intention of finding and terminating the menace, although the real issue here seems to be that he can't be terminated. He survives fire, bullets, falling down a mine shaft, the lot. The movie alludes to his supernatural abilities and also seems to suggest that he can spread evil. His niece Jamie seems to absorb his maliciousness by some kind of psychic osmosis, so that's also a concern. Would Myers bring disturbia to those around him? Honestly, to me, this really does sound like a job for the military. He's an evil maniac killer with seemingly no redeeming qualities. Just like send in the tanks and quarantine that dastardly menace, or bury him in concrete. Too much? I just want to end this video by saying that actually, in all seriousness, in some ways people like Michael Myers are real. There are people out there there with mental health issues who have not been cared for properly in their formative years who have turned to crime or even murder. A lot of mass murderers were diagnosed with behavioral disorders either before or after they started killing. The Jersey Beast, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer, all of them. Is this a signal that perhaps we need to invest more in mental health care to be able to handle people like this while they're still receptive to help? Just a question. So guys, that is what we think would happen if Michael Myers were real. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him, so I am staying away from Illinois. What do you guys think would happen? Let me know in the comments section down below. And what would you do if you saw him in the street? Also guys, do let me know what you're dressing up for Halloween. I love reading your comments, so please do leave them in the comment section down below. If you like these spooky kind of videos, if you like these what ifs, do make sure you leave a big old thumbs up and share these videos with your friends. Also, if you want to be the first to hear a big answer, you could click on that big beautiful notification bell. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, thank you for tuning into this video. I'll catch you in the next, but until then, stay curious, stay alert, and never ever stop questioning.